Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Lunch and Learn. Thank you, Chief, for helping us out again, as usual. Thank you, thank you. Couple of announcements. Next Friday, we will not have lunch here, just so you know. We will be at the Uxbridge High School. They have the play, The Addams Family, that we're going to see. The show starts at 9:30, so you have to be there before 9:30. Now, the folks that are on the van, Omer will be picking you up probably starting around 8:30. So I know it's an early start to the day, but that's the show will start at 9:30, and then they're going to serve us lunch after the show. They're thinking around 11 would be the lunch, and I believe they're going to be serving some type of pasta dish. Also, Saturday, March 15th, the Blackstone Valley Chamber of Commerce is doing their yearly Home and Community Expo. That is at Northbridge High School, and that is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can get free tickets at Unibank, and I think it's $3 at the door. Sally is doing another craft this month on March 31st. It's the spring box. It's a picture on the bulletin board. If you want to sign up for that, see Cecile at the desk. That is March 31st at 1:30. That's all I got. Pat?
I don't have anything.
Right, and Sally's on vacation, so she's in Aruba. And Gail will be back on Tuesday. So, yeah. But we're kind of like in a skeleton crew right now. But we're doing it. All right, let's do a moment of silence before lunch. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Lunch and Learn. I'm Chief Montminy. Thank you for having me here. And I have a guest speaker for you today. We have Kevin Donohue who is here from the DA's office to talk to you about scams, particularly those that where they concentrate on elderly people. So I know I'm not going to ask for any show of hands, but I bet you a lot of you have fallen victim to some form of scam or another. So Kevin's here to talk to you a little bit about it, and he also has some bling over here on the table if you want to take something. DA Early's office is nice enough to provide us with Kevin and all the supplies over here, so don't leave without taking something with you. And in addition, we have Detective Miller is here today. Detective Miller does a lot of work on scams as well, but mostly he's here to keep an eye on Martha today. Yeah, she's been on our radar for a while, so we're keeping an eye on her. Okay, Kevin, over to you.
All right. Just quick introduction. My name's Kevin Donohue. I work for District Attorney Early's office. Quick background about myself. I was an elementary school teacher for 36 years. I retired 6 years ago, and I applied at the DA's office for a part-time job. I was fortunate he hired me in his community outreach program. And my job with community outreach is to keep older adults like myself informed of all the different scams that are out there. Before I get into my presentation, I always talk about a few of the active scams that people are telling me about. And even just coming in here today, someone told me about the grandparent scam and how someone had contacted them pretending to be their grandson. Grandparent scams work because scammers know that we love our grandchildren. So one thing I always tell seniors is you should give your grandchildren a password, a code. It can be anything you want it to be. And if you have 8 grandchildren, give them all the same one so you don't have to remember a whole bunch of different ones. Because I have 8 grandchildren, I know I can't remember 8 passwords, but I can remember one. So if they ever call you and they're telling you they're in trouble, say, what's the password? And if they don't have it, hang up the phone. Okay? Because scammers are very active and they're good at finding out a lot of information about us on social media, and they're good at pretending to be like your grandson, for example. Another thing is government imposter scams are huge. Imposter scams in themselves are. But today when I walked in here, someone mentioned that they said they were scammed by the Registry of Motor Vehicles. I said, you weren't scammed by the Registry of Motor Vehicles. You were scammed by someone pretending to be the Registry of Motor Vehicles. And you have to be careful when you're online looking for sites, because scammers will make sites look just like a legitimate one, and it might just be one letter off or one character off, and you think you're clicking on a site, and you could be sharing some of your valuable personal information. In the last few weeks, I've heard from several people that said that they've heard from Publishers Clearinghouse and that they won. Okay? And it's the same for all of them, that they won, and they got $5,000 a month for the rest of their life, a brand new F-150 pickup truck, and a sports car. Now, out of those 7 people, I know one person that fell for the scam. The person believed that if I get that $5,000 a month for the rest of my life is going to be so easy. Because I already have a pension, I already have Social Security, I'm making do, but $5,000 a month is really going to make it easy. He told his wife, and his wife said, we're not in Publishers Clearinghouse, we couldn't win it. He wasn't listening to her. She called his son. His son came over the house, sat the father down, Googled Publishers Clearinghouse scams, and showed him, Dad, this is how it works. And they are going to ask you to make a payment, which they did. They told him in order to receive his prizes, he had to pay $700. And they told him to get $700 in gift card from Target. And now this gentleman did it. His son convinced him it was a scam. His son took the gift cards, held on to them for him. A couple days later, the son gives him back the cards. Said, Dad, whenever you're going to make a purchase, use these cards. You bought them. Lo and behold, he gets a phone call that night. This is your last chance to claim your prize. If you don't pay now, we're going to draw a new winner. And guess what? He read the codes off the back of the cards. He was out $700. There was no prize to be given. It was a scam. So if someone's ever asking you for a payment up front because you want a prize, that's a sign it's a scam. I always use the example of a buddy of mine. He won $100,000 on a scratch ticket. He cashed it in at the lottery. They gave him a check for $70,000. He didn't have to go in there with $30,000 and say, here's the taxes, now give me my winnings. Those are called upfront charges that scammers use a lot. I know we're tight on time here, so I'll jump into the slide, because last time I remember you had a hook and you were reaching for me. Okay, so let me move on this. Okay. All right, this is I'm going to say welcome to 2025. How many of you have a cell phone, a smartphone? If you do, I'm going to say you've received this text message or something like it, saying that you have tolls that are unpaid. Yeah. And many times it will say, click Y to pay, and we will send you a link. Or some of them have the link already on it. This is a way to steal your information. They are not sending you text messages or emails telling you you have payments due. If someone rides down the Mass Pike and they don't have an easy pass, guess what? They get a bill sent in the mail. Okay? It doesn't come through text messages. It doesn't come through emails. But people always say, well, they had my email or they had my phone number to send me a text message. It must be legit. And the answer to that is that's far from true. Our emails and our phone numbers are two of the biggest things that scammers want when they breach into companies or they breach hospitals. I'm from Worcester. Shields MRI, St. Vincent's Hospital, UMass Hospital have all been breached. So if you've gone to any one of them, someone probably got bits and pieces of your information. The big thing they get are your phone numbers and your emails. What do they do with them? They put them in the badges and they send out things like that, with the hope that a certain percentage of people will click on the link or make a payment. And when you click on a link, I want you to realize, potentially, a scammer can download software that they can use to steal usernames and passwords. Okay, what are they looking for? If I get your username and password for one of your accounts, the odds are Many seniors use that same username and password for another account. So if I breach into one of your accounts, I'm going to probably get into another one. So, you always hear you have a different username, have a different password. It is very important to do. And you can get password managers, like the chief was telling me he has a password manager. It creates the passwords for him. Or you can have a little blue book and write them down and shove it in a drawer somewhere. Don't leave it aside of your computer, because if someone gains access to your computer, you're making their job easy. Okay, this is the next scam that became popular. It's called the brushing scam. Brushing scams have been around for a long time. You'll get a package and it won't have a return address on it. And basically you open it up, it could be earbuds or it could be something that's even a little cheaper. And basically it's a package coming from someone. And what they're doing is they're sending you this package and then they're writing phony reviews saying, oh, I love my purchase of a particular item. And why they're doing that is to boost their sales. Okay? Now the new version of this one is this. Oh, let me go one more. Is this. Do we all know what a QR code is? You can scan a QR code using your camera on a phone. Okay? You'll open up this box that has no return address, and it will say, scan this QR code to see who sent you this gift. It's like a mystery gift. Well, they want you to scan it because potentially it's going to bring you to another site. Potentially they could download software or anything else to try to steal your information. Now, in Massachusetts, if you get a package delivered to you with your name and address, you're allowed to keep it. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean if you get a package delivered and it says Chief Montney and it has his address and by accident the guy dropped it off in your door, that's not delivered to you with your name from a company.
You better give it back.
By accident. You have to give it back. Okay? You want to either call, like I'll give you an example. My daughter lives in Shrewsbury. She had a package delivered to her house. I looked it up, it was only a couple of streets away. I brought it over, knocked on the door, and I said to the lady that I live over on Coachman Road in Shrewsbury, this package was accidentally delivered to us. And she said, oh, thank you. Can I ask you a question? Is your daughter's name Erin Murray? I said, yes, why? She wouldn't know how she came out with two other packages that were delivered to her by accident. They were my daughters. So the person delivering them just goofed up with, dropping one off at one site and another off at another. Okay, today I'm basically talking about phishing and smishing scams. Now, whether or not you remember those words, it's important to realize, like, phishing comes with your emails, smishing comes with your text messages. They're the same thing. They're links. A link that someone wants you to click on. So, for example, if you get an email or a text message from a business you do business with, or from your bank, and it's telling you there's a problem with your account, and it says, please click on the link to verify your information. Do not click on any links. I say even if you think it's legit, do not click. If it says it's from your bank, call your bank with a number you know to be true. Not a number that's in the email, a number you know to be true. Take out your debit card out of your wallet. Look at that, or look on a statement. Call that number and say, hey, I just got this email, or I just got this text message. Is this true? Because I don't trust any anymore. I got a fraud alert from my credit card company, and I'm looking at it thinking, oh, is this legit? Then I got a phone call telling me, hey, there's a fraud alert. I took my credit card out and I called with the number that's on it. I said, hey, I just got a text message and a phone number. I'll call. Is this true? Is there a problem with my card? And there was. Someone had made a purchase in California for $2,000. So I said, okay, we're going to shut down my card, issue me a new one, right? And the answer was yes. Well, why didn't I trust it? Scammers know how credit card companies work and how banks work. So they send you these phony fraud alerts. And they're trying to get you to call. Or they send it to you in a text message. They're trying to get you to click. Many times it will be generic. It won't even have the name of your bank or of your credit card. But it just says, potential fraud alert on your credit card. Someone tried to access your account for $500. If you did not do that, click this link. It creates a sense of urgency, which makes us click on the link. Okay, I'm saying never click any link until you know for sure that it's legit. Now, phishing, like I said, is the most common way attackers illegally access our computers. Smishing is our phones. I want you to realize, if you have a smartphone, that is a computer, and on your smartphone, many of us access our bank accounts or any other type of account. And so potentially that scammer wants to get into those accounts and steal our information. So we don't want to be clicking on any links, whether it's an email or a text message. Okay, phishing emails designed to get you to do one of these things. They want you to click on an unsafe link or download an unsafe document. Because if you do that, like I said, they can potentially put software on your device or potentially just try to steal information off your device. This other one, share your username or password. I have a buddy that owns his own paint business. Someone called him and they spoofed the name of his bank on his caller ID. Spoofing is technology that scammers use. They can make any number or any words show up on your caller ID. He saw his bank. So he answered the phone, they start talking to him, tell him to spend some suspicious activity on his account, and then they said, but before we go any further, we have to verify that we're actually speaking to you. Can you verify your username for us? Now he gave him his username, and if you've ever gone on your bank's website, if you put your username in, you can click forgot password, and it sends the owner of the account a two-way authentication code. The scammer says to my friend, we have just sent you a two-way authentication code. When you get it, read it back to us. He did. They put it in, they changed his password, they had access to his funds. A couple of minutes go by, he's wondering, am I being scammed? He hung up the phone, he called the number he knew that was, to be true. $5,000 was already removed from his account. Now he acted quick, they hooked him up with his bank's fraud department, he was able to get his money back. But that's what they can do. By you sharing one tidbit of your information, they're able to get other information. So a rule of thumb is, first of all, I always say, don't answer the phone if you don't know who's calling. Let it go to voicemail, make an educated decision. Later, if you want to call them back, and always look up the number on your own. And if you do answer the phone, don't share any information. As soon as someone asks you a question, hang up. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get information from you. Hang up the phone. When I first started at the DA's office 6 years ago, number one way they were reaching out to everyone was by phone. Phone is still very active, but these phishing and smishing, these links that they're trying to get you to click on, work so much better for them because they're sending these out to thousands of people at a time with the hope a certain percentage of people will click on the link. And the last one, they're trying to get you to make a payment. Like for example, if you make a payment with your checking account, you've just given them your routing number and your account number. Okay? Sharing some personal information there. I always say if you're making any type of purchase online, always use your credit card. Credit cards give us better liability protection. They work well with us. And always monitor your statements. And if you think something's not legit, you can always question it with your credit card company. And if they explain what it was, and you say, oh yeah, I did that, well, at least you put your mind at ease. And you're not thinking for the next week or so, did I really spend that $50 there? I mean, I just did it a few days ago. But when they explained it to me, the place I made the purchase, that's not the company name that showed up for being paid the money. So they explained it, I said, okay, yes, I did do that. At least now I know somebody didn't steal my money and my account has not been breached. All right, cyber attackers fish for a lot of reasons. Obviously, they want our money. They want your personal identifying information, which is your name, your birthday, your social security number. If they get that, they can potentially create identity theft with your information. They can buy a new car using your information. They can get utilities turned on in an apartment. You might not ever know about it, but when they finally default on it, the lien holder comes back after us. Because our name is on it. Then you have to prove that you're not the party that opened those accounts. I always say at my age, my son's 31, He has frozen his credit. My credit is frozen. That means no one can take out any loans using my information, including myself, unless I thaw the freeze or lift the freeze. I bought a car with my wife about 3 months ago. And I filled out all the paperwork. The gentleman goes into his room, comes back out, and he said to me, Mr. Donohue, we can't give you the loan. I looked at him. How come? He said, your credit's frozen. I said, oh, give me a couple of minutes. I went online, I unfroze my credit. I said, okay, run it now. Okay, that's how it works. No one can pull any of your information if you freeze your credit. To freeze your credit, you have to call Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, all three of them. If you took one of the bags off the table, their names are in it. You call them, you can get your credit frozen. Okay, and like I said, I think it's a good thing to do because most of us are not opening up new credit cards. We're not taking out new loans all the time. And when we go to do it, you can do what they say is a thaw, lifts it for a day, puts it back on. That way you don't have to remember to put it back on or have to do it again. And that's why I did it that way when I did the car loan. They want your network access. If I click on a link at home on my personal computer, they get into my computer. Potentially you might get into my banking information. If I'm at work and I click on a link on my work computer, potentially they're going to get into the network, which means they can see everybody's emails, all the information going through. And I don't want to be that guy that lets someone into the DA's office or then maybe even shuts the whole system down and holds us for ransomware. Ransomware is when you can no longer use it. They lock you down. You can't use your computer again until you pay them, and then they'll unlock it and let you use it. And when they do that, what information have they accessed in the interim? Okay, phishing messages are designed to get you to react quickly without thinking too much. They create a sense of urgency. You've got to do this now. That guy in Millburg, if you don't do it today, we're going to draw a new winner. So he did it. Okay, offers of money. Someone contacts you and tells you you want a prize, or you have you inherited X amount of dollars. But then they tell you there's an upfront charge associated with it. That's a big red flag. It's a scam. Anytime someone's asking you to pay to receive something, it's a scam. This one, package pending confirmation. That one skyrocketed during COVID, and it's not going away. Because during COVID, many of us started buying things before online, and we never did it before. And many people our age found it so much easier that we still do it. And believe it or not, the younger population does it all the time as well. So as a result of that, scammers know there are millions of packages going across the United States every day. So why not send out these emails saying, hey, you have a package pending confirmation, but there's a problem. Insufficient zip code, insufficient postage. Please click the link below to update your information. Those are all scams. I'll give you an example. I went to Verizon, and this was a couple of years ago, and I had to turn in a phone because I had problems with it, and I was getting a new phone. It was going to get sent to me. Lo and behold, that night, and it's just a coincidence, I got an email that was saying I had a package pending delivered from Verizon. Please click on the link below. Well, why did that come to me? Because Verizon's a popular store. That went out to thousands of people, not just me, but I'm looking at it thinking, oh, I just bought a phone. Is this legit? What I do, I called Verizon and I said, hey, when is my phone going to arrive? I didn't click on the link. Okay, and that's the thing. Don't click the links. That's what they want. The help wanted kind of skyrocketed during COVID, and a lot of people our age were looking for jobs online. Younger population looks for jobs online. Phony jobs are posted. You might get a phony interview, so to speak, and they'll tell you that you're hired. Then they'll send you a check for $2,000. Like, let's say you're going to be stuffing envelopes. They might say, you know, use $300 to buy some stamps, $200 for envelopes. There's $500. Now they sent you $2,000. What we want you to do is send the other $1,500 off to another person that works in our company. So you take that check, you put it in your bank. You spend the $500, you send $1,500 of your own. They might even ask you to do it through gift cards or cashier's checks, something like that. You send the money off, that money's gone. In about 7 to 10 days later, your bank's notifying you that that check you put in the bank is bouncing like a rubber ball. So it was no good at all. Rewards. We all get them. You won a 10-piece pea set from Kohl's. Or I get one that always shows, I won a 101 socket set from Ace Hardware. Click on the link to claim it. That's not coming from Kohl's. It's not coming from Ace. It's coming from a scammer that's using big name companies. Because the odds are, maybe I shop at Ace. The odds are, maybe we shop at Kohl's. Maybe we shop at Target. The odds are pretty good. So they're trying to see if they can entice you to click that link. I didn't mention the IT score. I'm going to mention it real quick. IT score, you get a pop-up on your computer, and it says, you have viruses. Please call this number. Microsoft's monitoring your computer. So you call the number, the person has you go to this remote site where they take over control of your computer. And then they're going to tell you to fix your viruses. And then they might ask you for a payment of X amount of dollars. Now I know a gentleman who did that. And then after he made the payment, they said, oh, wait a minute. The scammer's been into your bank account. And they said to him this, what we want you to do is remove your money from your bank. We're going to open you up a new account called a Bitcoin account. Put your money in there to safeguard your money. He did it. He almost moved about $50,000. That money was instantly deleted from his Bitcoin account. Most of the time when that happens, you're not getting your money back. I read an article, I believe it was in Rutland, they were able to freeze an account and they're getting that money back. Detective here was telling me about a story that he's involved in, and they're able to potentially get a freeze on an account, get that person their money back. Doesn't happen too often, because they're usually pretty smart where once you put it in, they take it out. Okay, this one came out at Christmas. I just always show it because this is how it works. Don't click on any links or anyone telling you that you have a package pending delivery. This one came from the FTC, reminded us, if we get a notification saying we have a package pending delivery, don't click. What happens if you get an email or a text message and it has a link, but you didn't click it? Nothing. But I would suggest that you delete it. Because if you don't delete it, there's always a chance you may click on it or another person may click on it. Because I had this presentation, and then a couple weeks later, a woman came up to me and she was saying to me, you know, I was trying to explain what you said to a friend of mine, and I showed her an email I got, and she touched the link. She said, do you think I have, spyware or whatever downloaded on my computer? I said, I'm not a tech guy. I said, you know, sometimes there are some signs people's computer stuff runs slower, maybe it's getting warmer. I said, but if you have any concerns, bring it to someone that does technology. Let them take a look at your computer and clean it out. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of what links are. I'm telling you not to click on a link, but what is a link? If you get an email, like this one, it says you have a package pending delivery. This continue button is a link. They want you to touch it. By you touching it, it brings you to another site. And you're thinking it's bringing you to a site maybe from UPS. But it's probably bringing you to a malicious site where they're trying to steal your personal information and potentially downloading, like I said, spyware or something on your device. Netflix, #1 streaming service out there. Cable is becoming expensive, so some people have gone to streaming services. Netflix, like I said, is #1 streaming for movies. So a scammer sends you this. It looks like it's from Netflix. It says, I will give you 3 months free if you renew today. Click on the link below. It's right here, renew subscription. That's your link. This one, it said, get a $50 gift card. Take a 3-minute survey. Click on the card to begin your survey. The card itself was a link. Now, this one I got in November. And in November, everybody is Christmas shopping. And this one came out, it looks like it's from Amazon. And it said, as a new Amazon regulation, we're asking all of our members to update their information. It says you have 24 hours to do it. If you do not do it within the 24 hours, your Amazon account will be permanently closed. It gives you a badge number at the bottom to make it look legit. And then it gives you this link. This is the link on this one. https:// Look at the name that one came with. Doesn't look legit to me. Now, if I thought it might be legit, what would I do? I would reach out to Amazon myself and say, hey, do I have to update my information? But I wouldn't be clicking on a link. Now this one says your American Express account has had some suspicious activity on it. It says, click here to review your account. So in other words, click here to review the activity to see if you did it. But when you click on that card, you are clicking a link which brings you to the site they want you to. Okay? They can potentially steal information off your computer and potentially put spyware to get future information from you. And the last one I'm going to share is this one. Now this says Trusted Bank. If you can erase the name Trusted Bank and put the name of any bank that you use there, and then you get this one, it's showing your bank's name, and it's saying, Dear valued customer of your bank, we have received notice that you have recently attempted to withdraw $135.25 while out of this country. And then it says, if you did not do this, they know you didn't do it because it's a scam. If you did not do this, please click on the link below. And then they supply you a link. Now, this one says HTTP, it doesn't have an S. If you're going to use a bank site, it's going to have an S. The S means it's secure. That means information you send in from me will get to my second party and nobody else can get it. Okay? But just because a link has an S doesn't mean it's safe. Because let's go backwards, I think this other one had it. Oh yeah, this one has an S. Secure just means, like let's say, was it Justin? Jesse? Let's say Jesse's a scammer. And he has a secure link. He's got a secure link. And he sends me a scam and I'm falling for it. And I look and they say, oh, I know S means secure. Oh, he's got a secure link. It's okay. And I use it. It's not okay. It just means he's the only one that can get my information. It doesn't mean it's completely secure. You have to look for other things as well. Okay? That's why I'm always saying, call someone first before you click. Now, this bank one, I'm just going to use this one as an example. The other ones had the same things. If you get an email or a text message, one good sign that it's from a scammer is spelling or grammatical errors. Now, I'm not the best speller in the world, but I taught third grade, I said, for 36 years, and there's a rule, I before E except after C, and when I look at the third word, we have received, it's spelled wrong. They put the I before the E. Okay, now, would everyone always catch things like that? No, because especially if you were a teacher, we learned to read things that have spelling mistakes and grammatical errors, because if we cut everything up on a child, you're stifling their creativity. So sometimes you just let the things flow, and you get used to reading that way. So, but that is a sign when you're looking for a scammer, spelling mistakes, no S, no banks, not every bank's going to have a secure link. They're not going to have an unsecure link for you to use. Okay? Big thing for you to take away from this, if you get an email or a text message, do not click on a link. Verify who has sent it to you. If you feel like you were scammed or someone attempted to scam you, call the chief. Let him know. Let the senior center director know, so she can share it with other people, so other people potentially don't fall for that same scam. Because scammers work real well, because a lot of times someone falls for a scam and they're a little embarrassed, they don't want to share it. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Okay, you didn't do anything wrong. The scammer's the one who's doing everything wrong. Okay, and realize this. Younger population falls for more scams than we do. The difference is, scammers are looking at us thinking, hey, maybe they have a pension, hey, maybe they have Social Security, maybe they have a nest egg, and they try to hit us for larger amounts of money. That's the big difference. So if you ever, like I said, if you ever think you've been scammed, or someone has scammed you, share. Don't be embarrassed, because there's nothing to be embarrassed about. And I'm just going to share one person who Barbara Kokorian, she's on that show Shark Tank. I don't know how many people have watched it. She got an email, and it said to her that work was finished on property in Germany, and there was an invoice for $300,000. She paid it. A few days later, she realized the email address was like 1 or 2 letters off. She had been scammed. What did she do about it? She went on social media. So if you go on Google and you type in Barbara Kokorian scam, it's going to pop up. She went on social media. She shared with the world, hey, look, it happened to me. It can happen to anyone. And that's the reality. I mean, I could get scammed today. The chief could get scammed. Anyone in this room potentially could get scammed. And we all have to realize someone probably does have bits and pieces of all of our information from all the breaches that have gone on. So if someone ever reaches out to us and we didn't contact them and they start asking questions, hang up the phone. And remember, no government agencies reaching out to you. Social Security is not reaching out through an email or text saying you could potentially get a $2,000 or $4,000 more a month. Click on the link to update your information. All scams. Okay? I don't know, does anyone have any quick questions?
You know, part of the problem nowadays is when you try to call somebody, you never can get a person to talk to. I mean, all you get are these voices. I mean, I've had calls when I've been ready to throw the phone out the window because I went from one thing to another and they keep switching you, but you never get a real person.
Okay, most of those will give you an option to put your phone number in and they'll call you back instead of making you wait in the queue. It's called the queue.
And even the bank.
The banks, they all do it today.
They're awful.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but that's not a scam, that's just the word. I always say this, if you're gonna call like any government agency, call them first thing in the morning, don't wait till 9, 10, 11 o'clock, because by 11 o'clock, guess what? Everyone's calling. And then you're gonna get put into that long queue. Okay, I'm gonna turn this back over to the chief.
Thank you, Kevin. That was great, folks. Thank you very much for listening. Since we have Detective Miller here, I was wondering if, are there any recent scams that you've seen here in town?
Yeah, I mean, he covered everything really, really well. Hang up the phone, don't click links, nailed everything. In town, Bitcoin has made it here in the 6 digits, 100. Hello, better? There we go. You hit the nail on the head. Hang up the phone, call a trusted number, or don't click your links in the email. But in Uxbridge, any scam you could think of where you think, oh, it won't happen to me, it does. Bitcoin is a massive scam because it preys on the unknown and not understanding Bitcoin. But when they get you, they'll get you for everything. So in town, hundreds of thousands. Out of town, again, hundreds of thousands for Bitcoin. Other scams are like any bit of information, as he said, that they get a hold of. 401k. Oh, we know you have a 401k. Transfer it. Well, now you're on the hook for however much you just transferred. So basically, whatever you got in your savings, it's out there to be had.
Thank you. One other thing I would note is if the keys are if they need payment right now, and if they don't take a legitimate form of payment, you know it's a scam. So no one's going to call you from the IRS and tell you that you have to pay them in Target credit cards. That's not going to happen. The IRS won't even take cash, for God's sake. So, yes, sir.
Any of these scammers ever caught?
Well, the problem with catching the scammers is they're almost never here. They're in North Korea or someplace where we can't catch them. And that's why they get away with it. They don't need to be here to do the scam. They call you on the telephone. I've been witness to a couple. I had a company call me and said they were from Microsoft and my computer was infected, and for only $499 they would log into my card, my computer, and fix it. That was a scam. And just recently I received notification from American Express that somebody had made an illegal charge to my account, and if I simply clicked on this link, they would walk me through how to fix it. Well, nobody had made a charge on my card. They were trying to get me to click on the link. So it can happen to anyone, and it happens to everyone. Please, if you're concerned, contact the police department. We'll be happy to tell you what to do, okay? Okay. Omar.
I don't know if it was touched upon, but I've noticed that when I try to go on a certain link, it's not the first link. Sometimes it's not even the second link. It may be the third.
Or if you're looking for a particular site.
Or a site,
Yeah,
right.
no, you gotta realize this. Scammers can pay to be listed on higher on a Google search, for example. So the first site that you see on a Google search might not be a legitimate one. And so you really have to be careful what you're clicking on. And like he said, sometimes you have to just look at it and determine which one you think is legit. And if you don't know, don't click. Don't click, because you don't. So much damage can be done so quickly. Information stolen so quickly. And cash that we worked our whole lives to accumulate can be gone so quickly with a click of a mouse, where they convince you to do something and we're not realizing what we're doing. And, you know, scammers are good actors, and that's what they are. And they can convince us that they're with the government. They can convince us they're with IRS. And that for some reason, you have to pay with gift cards. They're going to convince you that that's the only way. It's not like they just say it. They're convincing you beforehand. Well, you know what? You owe that money, and we need it today. In order to alleviate any taxes or any penalties that you're going to see, I tell you what you can do. You can get some gift cards for us. If you read us those codes, your payment will be received today, and you won't get any more taxes or penalties on it. They're going to convince you. And, you know, to your question about scammers, yes, some do get arrested, but it's like Chief said, so many of them are coming from out of the country. But there are some that do get arrested, but, you know, some of them are just raised, and that's, like if I went around this whole room, what'd you do for a job? What'd you do for a job? You'd all be sharing different occupations you had. Ask a scammer what he did for a job. Scam? Get your money. It's like the DA always, when I first started working for the DA, one of the things he always said is, they're just trying to stick your hand in your back pocket and take out your wallet. All the money you work for, and they just want it, they're trying to do it the quick and easy way of just stealing your cash. That's why we're just trying to keep you informed of different things, and like the links, that's huge. Okay, if someone ever calls you, just realize there are lots of people that have information about us. Don't answer the phone if you really don't know who's on that other end. And if you answer it by accident, and they're telling you they're your hospital, they're telling you you're the bank, and then they start asking you questions about yourself, hang up. Because it's just another ploy, another way they try to get your information from you. And, you know, as long as we're aware of these things, we're safeguarding ourselves. You don't have to be afraid to use your computer. Don't have to be afraid to use our smartphones. We just have to know, don't click on those links. And, you know, like, if you have a smartphone, don't walk away from it and leave it over here and you're going somewhere else, especially if you've been using your smartphone to be looking at accounts and everything else. Because real quick, someone can pick up your phone, check your history. Maybe you'll have one of those accounts where your username and password auto-load every time you go on it. So I don't even have to figure out your username and password. You have it stored and saved. Not a smart thing to do, by the way. It's not smart to have that stored and saved. And you always want to have you know, certain preferences set up, like the chief was talking about facial recognition, thumbprints. You can do two-way authentication. That means when you go to sign in into an account, they're going to send you a code, you put the code in, and then you're good to go. Something a scammer wouldn't be able to do from somewhere else, because your phone number's on that account. Okay? If anyone else has any questions, you know, feel free to ask them before you leave. If you have anything you didn't want someone else to hear, you feel free to ask me and I'll answer it as best I can.
We'll ask Kevin to stick around for a few minutes, so if you've got a question for him, he'll be here for a few more minutes, okay? But I want to thank everybody for coming, and I hope you learned something.